Hemming, number 3. Number 11, Ezra Lusk. Number 10, Damon Bradshaw. And Henry is to the inside, number 20. We've got a part of our battle. Oh, they touch.
Literally bar to bar as they landed off that triple, they touched.
Jeff Hemming's best performance ever here at Daytona. He has never made the podium, and right now he's looking pretty good for his 3rd win of the 1997 season. Jeff Hemming, the checkered flag.
Jeff Hemming hoping to repeat with 2 in a row here at Daytona here today. Now, while we were away, the 4-lap last chance qualifier. These are the last 3 riders to make the 250 field. Corey Botter, Kerry Hart, and Heath Voss. Let's go down to Marty.
Okay, Ricky Carmichael getting ready for the main here on the 125, and something happened between the heat and the main?
Yeah, I was getting ready for the main, and I go to grab my helmet, and it's gone.
Somebody stole it?
I guess so. It wasn't there, and I was panicking, couldn't find nothing, and it's gone, I guess.
Are you superstitious?
No, I'm good to go.
That's a frightening thought for everybody else, guys.
Well, that is some kind of development, Marty. As we take a look at the 125 East points race, you see Carmichael simply dominating Raynard, Lytle, Sellards, and Karsten in the top 5, but Clark and LaRusso are really knocking on the door to get into the top 5. I would think something like a helmet would be very superstitious, David Bailey.
Well, it doesn't sound like Ricky is. It doesn't seem to bother him. But I am, on the other hand, a little bit superstitious. And my helmet, I was using a prototype one before the first national one time at Gainesville, and AMA didn't approve it in time, so I had to switch and go through the pits and borrow one. Borrowed it from a guy named Alan King, and was not feeling too good about the day. It started off pretty rough, but I ended up winning it, so it didn't seem to really matter.
Ricky Carmichael, number 6, trying to make it 3 for 3 on the season as he takes a look back to last year, his first professional year here at Daytona. It was a real learning process.
I rode a really good heat race, you know, got the whole shot, everything was good. I won by 20 seconds in my heat race, and I tell you what, I was happy about that. Going into the main event, got a really good start, had the whole shot, and crashed in the first turn, and I was dead last. I must have been 20 seconds behind. Everybody was gone, and then I worked my way back up to 6, and handlebars all bent down. I cased the triple halfway to go, hurt my wrist, you know, the one that I broke, and I don't know. I think I could have won it, but I didn't. So I'm looking to go there this year and win. I know I can do it. It's a long race. It's going to be rough. So I'm looking forward to it.
Ricky Carmichael now with his mechanic, and Chad very cool and confident with his rider David Bailey, who certainly has matured since last year's crashing episode.
Well, it's a learning process, you know. Last year he was a young kid, and he definitely wanted to win, and he would do anything that it would take. Got a little too aggressive going into the first corner. What we're seeing is a more mature Carmichael, but we're also seeing a much faster Ricky Carmichael, a lot more confidence to go with it, and he could probably go down that first corner this year and still come back and have a real shot at winning with the speed that he's got. Raynard is going to be tough for him because Raynard rides good in the sand. He looked great in his heat race, so it should be an interesting race between those two.
The great crowd here at Daytona International Speedway anticipating an outstanding ride by this young man who has shown so much dominance in the 125 ranks. Robbie Raynard, number 21 in the Suzuki, has showed some spots of speed and good maturity, with Raynard taking 2 second places so far this year, sandwiching an 8th place at Atlanta where he had some problems, an early crash. 32nd board is up as we're just about set for a 125 main event. Most of these young men destined for superstardom later on and advancing to the 250 ranks. For those who are just joining our sport, the 125 division is divided up into East-West divisions. Now, 5-second board is showing. We see number 21, Robbie Raynard. It's get nervous time. 5 seconds. It'll drop any minute now, any second. They're off, and the 125 main event from Daytona is underway, and look at that. No question about it. Way out in front with Brock Sellards in 2nd place. Brock Sellards on the FMF number 36. He's had 2 4th place finishes so far this year. Ricky Carmichael's right where he wants to be, David.
Yeah, he's where he wants to be, and Raynard's not that far back. He's running 5th right now. As long as Ricky doesn't disappear too early, these guys still have a chance to battle.
So it's Ricky Carmichael, Sellards, Shea Bentley, and Jimmy Neese in that order. Where's Raynard?
Right there, number 21, just
there he is.
Behind this battle right here. And if he wants to challenge Carmichael, he's got to get through those guys within the first lap or two. Otherwise, Ricky's gone, which already looks like he is anyway.
So Bentley has moved into 2nd place in front of Sellards. Then it's Neese and Robbie Raynard in good position to attack Neese.
This is going to be a great battle, but just like what we've seen the past couple of weeks, it's not for the lead. You take Carmichael out of this, and this is an incredible class. A lot of people saying Carmichael, he's just going to be the next Jeremy McGrath. He is basically doing what Jeremy McGrath is doing. And the whole reason he's not McGrath right now is McGrath's still here. Carmichael is same kind of phenomenon, just unbelievable. Heads above this class.
Boy, you get a good idea of speed on that down level shot now as Sellards battling it out with Neese and Raynard. Quite a triad right there. Number 583 is Bentley. Bentley got the whole shot in the 125 East opener in the first race. Sellards getting out in front there of Jim Neese.
Well, that'd be a fun corner to get into with 3 or 4 guys right next to you, because you don't know what's going to happen. You can go inside, outside, and make mistakes there because it's so slick. Just to the outside of that corner, Mitch Payton sitting there watching his rider.
LaRusso went down, and for Danny Smith fans, he got a slow start in 9th. A Western rider who's just riding for experience here on the East, not in the top 10. You can race in the other division for experience. So Ricky Carmichael, Sellards, Neese on the KTM in 3rd place. Here's our new order, and welcome back to Daytona for the 125 main event Supercross style. Ricky Carmichael in 1st with Brock Sellards in 2nd. There's Jimmy Neese, number 42, Raynard on the inside. Number 21, Raynard making another move. Goes up another notch on the ladder, David.
Beautiful shot. That camera guy taking his chances right there. The Raynard flying by on the inside, taking over the line, but he also left it on a lot longer, taking a chance to still stay in that inside berm and make that pass stick.
The quickest lap so far, 121.
Yeah, that's just amazing. Carmichael, I could talk about this guy pretty much all day. He's just that good. Raynard really impresses me too, Art. I mean, if you put Raynard and Carmichael together somewhere out during the week and have a riding contest, they're pretty evenly matched. They're both very skilled, great balance. They can both do all the tricks, but in a race, it's a whole nother deal. You got the start, you got the other riders, decisions to make, and Carmichael's got to figure it out a little bit better than Raynard right now.
Carmichael gunning for 4 for 4, has quicker times than 250s. Sellards and Raynard in the battle for 2nd. Here comes Robbie. Robbie pulls up on that triple. Didn't have quite the right angle on it.
That was a beautiful shot. That's such a hard triple to do as well. What happened to Sellards, had to really brake hard. That's why it looked like Raynard might get him. But he was setting himself up to be able to do that triple, and he opened up even a little more distance.
122 flat. Maximum effort now. He's telling Robbie Raynard as Raynard goes zipping by. In the opener, he gave us some hope that he might challenge Brock Sellards. Holding on. Oh, good battle for 2nd place. Number 36, Sellards. Everybody wondered what this kid could do with a good start.
Well, if Raynard doesn't find a way around before they get back to that section, Sellards better protect that inside, because Raynard is smoking down that inside, missing all those bumps.
Sellards went from 14th to the 4th of the opener, showing good promise. Brock Sellards, number 36.
The triples have really been the story this year, Art. Raynard seems to a little shy of these triples. Once again, right there, the difference. If he'd have jumped that, he had a good line, may have made the pass.
He was shy on other racetracks on the triples, saying, hey, I thought it was faster doing the doubles.
I don't know about that.
I don't think that's the case here. Sellards holding him off so far. He had a few races with Pro Circuit last year. Looked impressive at St. Louis with a 3rd place finish. A 4th at Charlotte. His dad helped him get started about the age of 4.
Now, it's been in the family. He's been a great rider. A lot of anticipation when he came into the professional ranks, and he was going to burst onto the scene. And you know, the difference between he and RC is that he's had a lot of injuries. Carmichael really, I mean, he's had some, but he hasn't battled back from shoulders and wrists and knees and all his problems that Raynard's had, and that's in Raynard's mind every time he goes to take a big chance, which you have to do to keep up with this kid. And the chance of going down and twisting something else.
Here's Raynard as he goes over the finish line jump. Raynard now with a 10-second lead on second place Brock Sellards. Sellards bobbling just a little bit, but Raynard, he had a 10-second lead by the halfway point in the last race at Tampa, David Bailey, and already he's taken that advantage here.
Right.
Let's go down to Marty.
We're down here with Mitch Payton, who is the owner of the #6 rocket ship that's going around this track. Your boy is running quicker than the 250s.
Yeah, he looks really good. I mean, he's going really fast. I mean, it's more of an outdoor track, and he really likes that kind of stuff.
How are you going to keep him from becoming complacent? I mean, he's killing this field.
I mean, we got the outdoor series to worry about. This isn't done. Obviously, you know, last year he led a lot of races, but he wants to make sure that he wins the series, so that's more important. And then probably walk into a couple 250 races.
It's a nice problem to have, huh, guys?
Right. The mentor of #6, Ricky Carmichael, I mistakenly called it Raynard a little bit earlier before we went to Mitch, but Mitch is really becoming an icon in the 125 racing, is he not, David?
Yes, he is, and I just got word that Danny Smith is out, so bad news for Danny. That young rider's been showing some promise. Carmichael, a little mistake right there. It's the only one I've seen so far.
We'll be right back to more of the 125 main after this. Ricky Carmichael leads our 125 main by 17 seconds. This is the battle behind him for second place. Brock Sellards, #36 on the FMF Honda. And #21, Robbie Raynard in the Primal Suzuki. Sellards.
A little out of shape, but that corner just promotes it. I haven't seen anybody go through it 3 times the same all day, not even Carmichael. And Carmichael won his heat race by 21 seconds. And I thought, well, okay, you didn't have Sellards and Raynard in there, but now he's putting that same distance on those guys in less laps. That's how fast he's going right now.
Looked like, David, that Sellards might have kind of knocked the wind out of himself, and now he's beginning to recover in front of Robbie Raynard as we've passed the halfway mark now here in the 125 main event.
Well, I think he's excited to be still where he's at, holding off Raynard right here. Raynard has been beating him. And anytime you have a good race like this and you keep somebody that has been beating you back there a little longer, you get fired up. And then when he's back there for 4 or 5 laps and he hasn't made a real threat, you start feeling like, well, why do I need to worry about this guy? I'll just keep riding my own race.
Well, we're going to see if that injury is still bothering Brock Sellards a bit. We're going to see what endurance comes into play right now. Robbie Raynard said, I'm in the best shape this year as I've ever been. The young lad from Oklahoma who came out of the amateur ranks with all kinds of amateur titles, signed early with Kawasaki, 16 years old into the pro ranks. And really, besides an arena cross championship, hasn't done what he wants to do in Supercross action. Let's go down to Marty.
Yeah, I'm down here with a very happy Mark Enright. Your boy's riding the best race of his life right now.
Riding real good. Brock's a real good rider. He's come back from being sick last week, and we've done a lot of testing, a lot of riding. He's come back really strong. So we're really good for this race, well prepared. Everything's going really good. We're shooting for first. Right now we're running second. We're going to try to hold on to that and just do the best we can.
Is there anything you can do to catch that first place guy, Carmichael?
Pretty much stay on the gas. Brock's a real strong rider. He's got a lot of endurance, and we can hang tough and hopefully catch Ricky. Maybe Rick can make a mistake or something, and everything goes well. We'll just see.
Guys, didn't want to interrupt you guys. Didn't mean to interrupt, but he is now in third as Raynard finding a way, not using the triple to get out in front to get into second place and try to challenge this guy who's pretty much long gone, Ricky Carmichael.
No, Carmichael's going to have to stop for a sandwich. He's so far ahead. It's going to take some real luck for anybody behind him to have a shot. He's just riding a comfortable pace right now. He's still pulling away.
Ricky Carmichael, Raynard, 1 and 2, Sellards, Nice, and Perolio. You're seeing Nice, number 42, number 41 is Sean Perolio.
That looked a little sketchy there. Nice getting over that triple, had a little bit of a nosedive, even took his foot off a little bit, like, whoa. They got close. When you're up in the air like that, it looks like you're coming up a little short. You can tense up. He had just enough speed to get in there and make that corner.
You must get excited, David Bay. That's the first whoa I've heard from you all season long, and we're at the halfway point of the season.
Well, it's just these triples are big air, and when you're up there like that, and you feel like you might be coming up short, you make some funny mannerisms in the air.
Perolio trying to find a way around Jimmy Neese. Perolio with a 6th in the opener did not qualify for the race in Tampa. All kinds of bad luck. Jimmy Neese, a similar situation, did not qualify after a 6th place in Atlanta. Bobby Horton starting to move up, David.
That straightaway right there leading into the triple getting rougher and rougher. That's a triple that kind of ragging a little bit on Raynard. Come on, Raynard, jump that thing, but it looks easy from here. And down there, that straightaway is getting rougher and rougher. And the ruts in the face of that jump are getting tough. And pretty soon, Carmichael will be the only one left jumping.
Ricky Carmichael, who last year went down early in the race, went from last place to 6th. So you know he's got the speed. He won his heat race last year by 20 seconds. Well, this year he's just putting it all together. Really no competition here in the 125 East from Ricky Carmichael. Next year, his contract says he has to defend a possible #1 plate should he get it, but also would take on some 250 action in the Western Division races. That's
going to be exciting because I was talking to O'Mara, who's very good friends with Carmichael. I actually kind of spotted him. And I was asking him a little bit. I go, does he ever ride 250 during the week? And he made this face like, wait till you see him on a 250. So that's going to be a good one.
And there is a possibility, too. Mitch Payton, as the Honda stopwatch starts, we'll see a big gap between 1st and 2nd place. There is a chance he might ride a 250 at Dallas.
That'd be a good place to show it, his speed, because that's a hard, slick racetrack. It requires a lot of throttle control and finesse, and that's what he's good at.
Ricky Carmichael looking for his 7th career 125 victory.
Seconds ticking by before Raynard comes around. That's a big lead, Art.
26-second lead.
That's a half a lap lead in a regular Supercross track.
So Ricky Carmichael having his own way in front of friends and family from Florida here at Daytona.
Over that finish line jump, just beautiful. It makes it look so easy. The momentum that he's got. He runs his handlebars really high. I think he's got to have his handlebars higher than anybody. It seems like he and Lusk are having a contest, see if they can get him up there the highest. And he runs his levers up real high. And see his middle finger. Some guys use their index finger. He uses his middle finger. Bradshaw did that. Somebody else I can't think of right now. Amick doesn't even put his fingers out there. He just uses it when he needs it. Most of the riders will keep a finger out there. And he even does it on the start. Watch him on the start. He only uses one finger on the clutch.
Another thing that surprised me when I went down to see the bikes, the handlebars are very, very flexible, but the mechanics were telling me it's to cut down vibration from the engine and the motors.
Right, and you get a 123 lap time, which is pretty fast, and he's just out there cruising now. And you know, everybody has their own preference. Bob Hanna, I couldn't even ride his bike. I couldn't even see where I was going when I'm riding his bike because there was so much vibration. He liked that thing, no rubber mounts. He liked that thing to be very rigid and feel everything that the motorcycle was doing, where some of the other guys liked the rubber mounts. Johnny O'Mara, as a matter of fact, liked his bars swept back quite a bit further and a lot more flex in there to take out the vibration.
The 125s go 15 laps. That means we are less than 3 laps away from the checkered flag. The 250s coming up next. They'll go for 20 laps.
Over that plateau again, hits the downside. Jersey untucked. It's a good day. That thing never stays tucked in.
Flapping in the breeze. We take a look at the Suzuki leaderboard. Carmichael, Raynard, Sellards, Neitz, Perolio. Ricky Carmichael is looking to tie the record for 125 East wins to start a season. Damon Huffman.
Beautiful line choice all through those switchbacks. Not going out and using that enticing main groove and getting caught up in all those bumps coming out. Sets himself up beautiful for the next straightaway around these bumps over this triple.
Here's our battle for 5th place. That's Neese.
Coming into that tricky corner. No one's really figured out the best line through there. I don't think there is one. Then you see the difference between Carmichael getting over that plateau. Carries so much more speed through there.
Pocaroba, Anthony Pocaroba, number 40. And we go back to Perolio, 41. 83 is Pavoni. Jim Pavoni in 6th place. As we move back to Parolio. But I was going to say that with a win here today and the white flag is flying for Ricky Carmichael, that would give him 4 straight wins to open the season, which would tie him for the record for the 125 East with Ezra Lusk in 94 and Brian Swink in 92, each of them winning 4 straight to start a season. I mentioned that Huffman in the West started the season with 6 straight wins, David.
Well, he's headed for that, and he's headed for the triple right in front of the grandstands also. He knows how to get the crowd into it. Well, it looked like he was going to do something, and then he overjumped that triple a little. He said,
just put his fist in the air.
I better just land this. It didn't go right. He's going, can I get a do-over on that?
Yeah, I bet he does it afterwards.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
The fans are going to be looking for it. 2nd place, Robbie Rayner, number 21.
Well, you know, he didn't get up there and challenge Carmichael, but if he can't win, second's going to have to do, and he had to earn it.
Boy, he'd be leading this division if it were last year.
Oh, we'd be pumping him up, boy, going, look at this Rayner guy. But Carmichael's overshadowing him right now.
Carmichael and Rayner. Rayner, it would be his 3rd second-place finish on the season.
One more time past Mitch Payton.
The big turn.
A quick glance over there saying, hey, boss, how am I looking?
Get the bonus check ready, boss. And Ricky Carmichael, 4 for 4 on the 125 Eastern season. Rayner just now 2 corkscrew turns and a plateau and the beach before the finish line jump. A good ride for Robbie, but he's got a superhuman 125 rider in front of him.
Well, you got to wonder what would have happened if they had got off 1st or 2nd and Robbie would have passed him right away like he did last week. What kind of a battle they may have had, because he got off in 5th and he had to work his way up, and Rayner, RC was just gone by that point.
So the checkers as RC makes a tour of the Daytona track.
That's a great feeling right there. 1984, I got to ride up there on the banking and see the crowd up close. If you don't get to do that, then you're missing something in your career.
Getting close to the fans, and we'll be back to join them in just a moment. Ricky Carmichael, his 4th win in 4 races. Robbie Rayner, his 3rd second-place finish. Brock Sellards, Jimmy Nish, Sean Parolio, our top 5. And as we look at 6 through 10, our finishers here at the Daytona 125 main event, let's go down to Marty Reed with our winner.
Yeah, I'm just shaking my head, guys. I mean, it doesn't matter if anybody rips off his helmet. You won by 37 seconds.
Oh, that's nice. You know, I got a good start. I got the whole shot, actually, and, man, I'll tell you what, it feels great to get a whole shot. It's hard for me in Supercross to get good starts. I don't know why, but I'll tell you what, my Kawasaki 1-800 Pro Circuit Axo bike, Bridgestone tires hooked up, and I tell you what, man, my bike is great. And, you know, my mechanic, Chad Watts, is doing a great job, and, you know, if it wasn't for these people, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And I've been working my butt off, you know, and I don't know, I'm happy.
You ran 21-second laps, 1 minute 21-second laps. That's quicker than the 250s. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know. I saw some 21s and 22s and 23s, and once I got out front, I just started playing it cool. You know, I wanted to gap them guys quick, so that way I could relax, and that's what I did. And I tell you what, man, I'm just looking forward to next weekend. Back in the domes, don't have to worry about it raining. I'm happy.
Yeah, but he won Daytona, guys, in only his 2nd attempt. It's 4 in a row.
As we take a look at the 125 East point standings, put the old century mark up there for Ricky Carmichael on top of everybody. Robbie Rayner running a strong 2nd. The real battle, of course, for 3rd with Casey Lytle and Brock Sellards, 2 of the support Honda teams. Lytle with Honda of Troy and Brock Sellards with FMF. Battling it out for 3rd place in our point standings. Okay, as the celebration gets underway for the 125s, the highlight of Daytona Supercross, the 250s with Jeremy McGrath, Ezra Lusk, Larry Ward, Doug Henry, and the rest of the guys going for the big bucks. They're coming up next. Bike Week in Daytona. And this is Art Ekman along with David Bailey just prior to the 250 main Supercross action here at the Daytona International Speedway. Daytona was the very first official Supercross way back in 1972, and a great history prevails. Let's take a look at the top winners. Jeff Stanton, 4 consecutive wins, heads the list, along with Mike Kudrowski. His 3 wins were consecutive victories. Bob Hanna, he had 5 or 6 years apart from wins number 2 and 3. Let's go down now with the winningest rider here at Daytona. Marty Reed is with Jeff Stanton.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't say it was Marty Reed who won those 4, because I can't even stand up on these things, but this guy can. Jeff Stanton, they mentioned already, you know, you've got this thing 4 times. Ezra, as we all know, your rider is very aggressive, and this is a track where you almost have to detune him a little, don't you?
Exactly. I just kind of had to pump him with a little confidence. Maybe he was lacking a little bit in confidence. I said, Ezra, you're way fit. You got more physical fitness than anybody out here. If you're in the top 5, just sit back and follow him a little bit. Learn some lines, and then slowly work your way up. I said, those guys are going to get tired. I know you're not going to get tired, and be on the podium.
Did you have to describe that feeling of what it's like to win this?
No, you know what? I don't like to toot my own horn to my guys. I don't like that. So I just try to get them to feel better about themselves. What I done here was outstanding. The 4 victories here was just the best races of my life, definitely. But I don't like to toot my own horn to my guys, because I don't feel that pursues a good image.
Well, I'll tell you what, you are a great image for this sport, and it's fun still working with you. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. You got to go to work, and guess what, guys? So do I.
Thank you.
David Bailey, Jeff Stanton, what a great advisor to have for riders. There's no one that worked any harder in conditioning and in planning. I think he felt a little bit like a Pete Rose in that he had to make up maybe for a little less natural talent with hard work.
Right. He and Lusk share that. I think they both work very hard, and they relate to each other well, and I think with their conversations, they understand each other, exactly what they're trying to do out there.
Here's the Suzuki point standings. McGrath, of course, with the big edge on Wyndham, but look at Larry Ward starting to make a move. Ezra Lusk is within striking distance of 2nd place, and Mike LaRocco, if his heat race gives us any indication, he might be able to move up the ladder here at Daytona.
Now, he's another one of those riders that comes on strong towards the end. The lap times have come down somewhat, about 6 seconds since practice, but still, we're looking at close to a 30-minute moto here, and that's where Mike LaRocco starts to get strong at the end.
As we check out the Suzuki starting grid along with the visuals, you see there Jeremy McGrath, Randy Lawrence, his mechanic, and there's of course the guy that put it all together, the Chaparral Yamaha deal with McGrath, Larry Brooks, the team manager. Jeremy, as we mentioned, still looking for his 50th career victory, which is a phenomenal mark. From his rookie season, he has won 58% of his Supercrosses.
You see him lined up just to the inside of the starter box. Just to his left is Jeff Emick, number 1 and 2, and then number 3, Ezra Lusk, just on the other side. So 3 guys that you would expect to be up in there, perhaps all 3 of them on the podium. Wouldn't that be something? Number 1, 2, and 3, they're all right next to each other on the starting line, and Jeff anticipating a long main event here. He won it last year. I'm sure Jeremy, his mechanic, is trying to anchor him there and say, hey, you know, you did it before, you can do it again. You look good out there in the heat race. Put that behind you and just change that last lap around a little bit.
Here's the guy that won the last race in Tampa, Lee McCollum, his mechanic, talking with Larry Ward. Ward very nervously wiping the forehead before putting on the goggles. You don't want to get those goggles on too early.
Well, it's just, you get hot in there. And you see they dump the goggles upside down. Sometimes guys carry them around, and a little piece of sand can get in there. When you put them on, you don't notice till you get out there and hit a jump, and that starts bouncing around, gets in your eye, and you're all messed up.
Look at the riders back and forth, going through their routine, trying to get warmed up.
This is real fidget time. There's a great shot, both number 1 and 2, Emick and McGrath. These guys will reach down and check their gas probably about 150 times before the skate drops. It's just one of the things you got to do.
5 seconds before it could go any moment now. Let's see who gets the whole shot. Daytona is underway. And look at that, Jeff Emick once again, just like he did in his heat race. Ezra Lusk, number 3, right behind him in 2nd place. Oh, good start. Here goes Michael Craig. Craig loves the sand at times, even though he's done well in hardpack. He won at Tampa. in 94.
This is really good news for Jeff Emig, because he's gotten off to a great start again. That's good enough, but then he's got Mike Craig. I don't know if Mike Craig is going to go right after Emig right away, but what will be tough for everyone to do is pass Mike Craig. That's a big plus for Jeff right now.
And it is Henry. Henry moving into 4th place now. So it is Jeff Emig, Michael Craig, Lusk battling it out with Henry. Henry goes to the inside of Lusk and takes over 3rd.
Henry wants it. There he goes. Right past Craig. Craig a little bobble there. Loses another spot, maybe to Jeremy. And Henry, I saw him out there last night in the dark, walking this track. I already pointed that out, but that just displayed to me the hunger, the need. He wants to get himself back on track. He needs to do it here at Daytona and give Yamaha the biggest win they can have this year.
Michael Craig right behind Henry. Craig goes to the inside. Henry to the outside. Jeremy McGrath is behind Craig, number 2. And there's Ezra Lusk behind him, number 3. So we've got a good, exciting start here for 20 laps now at the Daytona Supercross.
Well, what you have is what we had in Heat 3. You got Emig leading it. McGrath and Henry back there behind him. This time you got Lusk joining the party, and Albie, who rode good in his heat race, had some problems, but he was fast. He's up in there challenging Craig now.
McGrath behind Henry, Lusk behind him, and Craig drops back. Greg Albertine also starting to make a move now on Michael Craig. Team Suzuki's number 7. Jimmy Button's behind him. Larry Ward behind Button. And then Mike LaRocco as we go deep into the field.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Craig. You know, he had the injury, came right back and didn't even miss a beat. Right back in there with good starts, challenging. I watched him in practice. He got right behind Jeremy. Everyone looked about the same in practice in terms of speed, but he got right back in there with Jeremy and just copied everything he did. He learned. He's putting that to use right now. You can bet on it.
Craig and Albie going at it. You see Wyndham number 8 going into the picture there.
Button making a move. Getting by Craig on the triple into the next triple. Now he's got his sights set on Lusk, so Button's going to the front.
Jimmy Button with 3 podiums this year. He's led 14 laps on this season.
What Emmett can just keep his fingers crossed for, and you know Jeremy Albrecht, his mechanic, signal right now, is hoping that this battle right here between Henry and Jeremy McGrath, Henry clipping a hay bale, these guys are on the edge. He's hoping this battle right here, these guys can start thinking about themselves, kind of blocking each other, and they lose time to Emmett.
122.2.
That's not even as fast as Carmichael. Button's gone down in the whoops just before that corner there.
Jeremy
Dangerous
McGrath
spot.
in 2nd place in front of Henry. There's Button. As David mentioned, Button going down.
Yep, that's a tricky section. There's just a bunch of jumps heading into a corner. Doesn't look like anything special, but the timing there is critical, and he just found out.
Our leader is Jeff Emig, number 1, but can he hold off the force of Jeremy McGrath and Doug Henry? We'll find out when we come back. Art Ekman along with David Bailey and Marty Reed. The main event for the 250s at Daytona. It's Emig, McGrath, Henry, Lusk, and Albertine, our top 5.
Then the pace is furious right now. These guys, they're jumping a 70-foot triple on the front straightaway, and they're like, the hell with landing on the downside of this thing. I'm going to jump clear out past it. They're jumping 5 feet past it, just trying to maintain momentum.
LaRocco, number 5, and Larry Ward. 120.3.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. The pace had picked up, and the lap time is show it. There you see Wyndham right there behind Ward, moving up, getting by Ryan Hughes.
Hughes, number 10.
He's moving up too, but didn't get the start he needed. He's so far behind the leaders right now.
LaRocco, he's got the natural talent, David, to be in the top 5 and not have a finish better than 4th this year.
Look at all these riders. You know, there's so much talent now that if you don't get a good start and you're not riding really good that particular day, you don't move up. You know, you stay put, and you can't be disappointed with the way you're riding. You go back to the pits, sit in a chair, and go, you know, I'm happy with the way I rode, but there's 8 guys ahead of me that are all that good.
Throttle problem for Button, trying to unbend what was bent in that crash.
Well, what happens is Now they're going to have to change it, because what he did is he broke the housing in the throttle. It looks to me like it's bent on the end, so that it won't return. Oh, actually, he's loosening it, so he slid it out on the handlebar. It slid in, so it's like cruise control. If you let go of that throttle, it'd still stay wide open. He slid it out, so it returned.
Look at this. Jeremy McGrath now picking up on Jeff Emig. We'll have a battle for the lead any minute now.
Well, he's definitely, he learned in that heat race. I thought Jeremy was maybe giving these other guys a little bit of light and a little bit of confidence on him by not going out there and just running away with the heat race. But he learned he's going to put it all to him when it counts the most.
1:22.4 for Jeff Emig now, as his time starting to sag a little bit after good finishes in the first 3 races. The bottom dropped out for Emig. Got the whole shot in Atlanta, ended up in 13th place. 4th place start at Seattle, ended up in 14th again. And then 3 times got a 14th place start. So it really, nothing adds up with this guy, Jeff Emig, this year. Jeremy McGrath trying to find a way around him for his 50th career Supercross victory. Jeff Emig trying to battle with pride and get his first win on the season. Our Suzuki leaderboard: Emig, McGrath, Henry in 3rd, Ezra Lusk in 4th, and Greg Albertine, a very competent 5th place ride for Albertine.
And that interview that Marty got with Jeff Stanton just before the race, McGrath almost off the track there. Nice save, but that interview with Jeff, he said, Ezra, stay in the top 5, watch those guys, learn a little bit, be there at the end. He's right there.
The points leader, Jeremy McGrath, who has a 46-point lead. Let's take a look on the replay.
Well, they're squaring this corner to get the angle on this triple. Jeremy jumps it, but he's angled too far to the left. Watch this save. Lands in that loose stuff. That's actually been a berm that's been pushed up. That could have been it right there. He can look back on that if he was able to get around and win this thing and go, boy, that could have spoiled the whole day.
5 laps into the race, Emig trying to hold on for dear life against Jeremy McGrath. McGrath just looking for the right opportunity, showing him a tire every chance he gets.
You know, it surprises me a little bit, and maybe the track's changed and I just can't see from here, but Emig was jumping that finish line plateau, the same as Carmichael was in the 125, and he stopped doing it now. He was making time there. No one else was doing it.
Is it a confidence factor? Jimmy Button down again as the yellow flag waves. They go streaming by him now, our leaders.
Yeah, he is just completely out of sync now. I mean, when you make a mistake like that, he was going to the front. He had worked up to the back of Lusk. He could see the leaders, and to see that all disappear in a moment really messes with you. He went back out after getting the throttle fixed, down again, so his concentration is just completely messed up for him.
So Jeremy McGrath, chaparral Yamaha teammate, having his 2nd tough race in a row. Jeremy Albrecht, 123 the sign. Be strong as he's out in front. Jeff Emig trying to hold off Jeremy McGrath. 122.5 is now the time. Henry in 3rd place, Lusk in 4th, and Albertine still holding on to 5th.
It's kind of turned into a 2-way battle for 1st and for 3rd. Now Henry seems a little bit concerned. Maybe it just appears that way from this angle with Lusk back there behind him, as is Emig. Emig's starting to ride a little bit more McGrath's race, which is allowing McGrath to stay right there. And it's in the favor of McGrath, but one thing I really like about Emig, and he does this every time, we'll see if he does it here. If Jeremy can pass him, Emig always gets you right back. That just throws the guy out of sync.
The track holding up well. We expect ruts here at Daytona, but it's holding up very well.
This is a beautiful section through the whoops. Normally you'd see ruts through there, but it's just perfect. You can go pretty much anywhere you want. Let the back end just dance around under power. If you let off through there, that's when you got problems.
Okay, as McGrath tries to find a way around Emig. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Guys, one of the things I've noticed down here is the way Emig is riding. He's a little bit more forward on the bike, the way he's attacking, leading into the jumps, trying to keep that bike as low as he can. The last few races when he was in this slump, he was sort of sitting up on the bike, catching an awful lot of air. Keep an eye on, see if you agree with me, but from down here, that's the way it looks.
Here comes Jeremy McGrath. Emig trying to hold on. McGrath's got the inside, but yes, Emig, separate line. McGrath, they touch rubber. Jeremy is in the lead here at Daytona. He's looking for his 2nd lead. He's looking for his 2nd win here in Daytona. So it's McGrath, Emig, and now Ezra Lusk has moved into 3rd. Getting around Henry about the same time that McGrath made his move on Emig.
Yeah, that was the double roar of the crowd. Both passes taking place at the same time. And Marty, that was a great observation of Emig's riding style. And I have noticed that. And you'll notice when the riders are on the starting line waiting for that gate to fall, and that first 20 or 30 yards, you look at their position. You're in a hurry on the starting line, and that position demonstrates that. You're leaning forward. And if you can do that out there on the racetrack, too, that just shows that you're charging hard and aggressive.
Okay, Lusk is putting some time already on Henry. So it's McGrath, Emig, Lusk, and Henry spaced out pretty well. And Albertine almost went down in 5th place.
Yeah, right at the end of the whoop section.
Saved that.
That was scary. That'll get him thinking a little bit, but
because he's got Larocco behind him. Larocco has got a hay bale cover in his rear wheel. And it's Larocco that's behind Greg Albertine, number 7.
Albertine, that same exact section where McGrath had his problem off the triple. The guys are going wide right there. They can't get the angle they had earlier. Track's getting rougher now. Off onto the pavement. Through the moguls right there, a little bit offline again.
And Albertine hits the hay bale. Let's take another look, David Bailey.
Now this is the triple heading up into it. Sets up nice, gets into the berm, cuts out early. He gets a little wheelie, gets off balance, doesn't hit the line he wants. Oh, that was even uglier than I thought. Yeah, he had both feet off. That was just whiplash. I don't know how he saved it.
Out in front, Jeremy McGrath. Can he win his 2nd Daytona Supercross? We'll be right back. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Marty Reed as we take a look at the Suzuki leaderboard. McGrath, Emig, Lusk, Henry, and Albertine are top 5. Halfway point, 10 laps to go now.
Jeremy not able to get all the way over that plateau. That must be getting rough down there. And Emig actually still right in there. He's actually made a little bit of time on Lusk. Lusk made a mistake too, but that allowed him to stop worrying about him so much and think, you know what? Jeremy's still right there. Maybe I ought to make another run at him. 10 more laps, and they're only halfway here. This is when the race really begins. Look at that back end dancing around. Look at the beating these guys take. And that's where Albertine got out of shape. The one that we didn't replay, he got out of shape, and that was the section. The back end dances around. If you let off the gas right there, that's what the natural instinct is to do. When you get squirrely, let off. But that power actually keeps you tracking straight.
Keep looking ahead.
Yep, the mechanics are telling their riders, look ahead. Ride your own race. Look at the ruts coming out of there. Guys using Jeremy going through the middle, Emig going tight, Lusk going wide. So there's plenty of lines out there.
There's for Lusk pulling up on Jeff Emig.
That mogul section's really working out good this year. Last year it turned a little bit of a one-line situation towards the end, but now it's still, you can get through there and make a mistake and end up way off to the side.
On the last lap, it was a 1:22.9 for Jeremy McGrath as we're taking a look at the 2nd place battle, Emig and Ezra Lusk.
Well, these guys are, as we look at the Honda stopwatch, you can see the split. That isn't much. We're going to get a lap time.
About 3.5.
It's a pretty big gap from Henry on back. Henry's still staying in contact with these guys. You can see him, some of the long straightaways. That's another thing about Daytona. Some of these straightaways are so long, you can see the guy way up there, and it motivates you to go, you know, it's only a few laps left. Maybe I ought to just give it everything I got, see if I can still catch that guy. We're in a regular Supercross event where the track gets so confusing, going back and forth. It's hard to judge the distance behind.
Albertine trying to put his another good race back-to-back with a 4th place finish at Tampa.
Craig going by, who'd gotten such a good start. It's actually dropped pretty far back now.
Lusk closing in on Jeff Emig now as they rub. Emig holding on. Emig could use all that track, and especially the guy out in front can take the line he wants. Ezra Lusk now dropping back, and Ezra getting squirrely, has to go off the track and re-enter.
I guess the rule is, too, when you get all out of shape like that and miss an obstacle, as long as you don't gain a position, as long as you re-enter safely, and I guess that's okay. And that's what Lusk did right there.
Check out the lap time now for Jeremy McGrath, our leader here at Daytona.
Consistent, I can tell you that.
1:23.5.
Yeah, there you go.
He's picked it up a slight bit.
The only thing that'll cause that to ever fluctuate much more than a half a second will be lap traffic.
Ezra Lusk in 3rd.
You can hear that throttle right there. It's so important. A lot of the amateurs make the mistake of driving wide open all the way into the face. Compresses the suspension so deep that all you do is go up. You don't go out. You heard Lusk right there let off just before the face. gas it on the takeoff, and that launches them out, gets the distance.
LaRocco in 6th place. He got 6th in Tampa, 5th in the race before that in Atlanta, 6th in the race before that at Indy, before a 4th place in San Diego. He's got that cover, or part of a cover, wrapped in the rear wheel, but evidently it hasn't affected the braking system.
We never know. You could disguise that pretty good. You can tell a lot of times these guys will tap the brake in the air off the jumps. He moved his foot back, so I know he didn't try it there, but you'll see that wheel stop in the air. A lot of the guys will try to change that angle.
Mike LaRocco a little bit frustrated that he hasn't been able to put it all together to get better than a 4th place finish this year. He has 2 4th place finishes. Mike LaRocco, though, starting to pick up the space on Albertine. Albie, number 7 right there, is in the position right in front of LaRocco. He's in 5th.
You know, the other thing, too, Art, is these guys aren't that far behind Henry. They can certainly hear him. That's for sure.
The 4-stroke.
They can look up the track not too far and see him. They know that's still within their grasp. Podium spot, well, that's quite a bit farther down the straightaway, but anything can happen. Stay in it.
LaRocco's best ever finish here at Daytona was back in '95 when he took a 2nd. He went to 3rd in '94 and a 4th in '93. He had a 5th place last year. Number 5, Mike LaRocco on the factory connection Honda, trying to catch up with Albertine. Of course, he had that crash at Gatorback in '96 and came in here with an injured knee and rode with to a 9th place finish. Back on Jeremy McGrath.
Working his way into the mogul section. He's been getting through that same line, consistent every lap. That's where he was making his time on Emig for the long straightaway past the mechanics. Albertine over that triple clean this time. You can hear Henry just going by, so he's picking up time now.
A 4.6 difference. We got notification from down below. Here's LaRocco. He's got less than that in the difference to Albertine.
Well, that's a fast straightaway. You don't get to do that in a dome. Yeah, you don't have the potential of rain in a dome, but you don't get to get out into 4th gear and let that bike go. The Suzuki's got more horsepower and they're showing it.
So both Albertine and LaRocco are catching up to Doug Henry in 4th place.
Henry all the way over that finish line jump. You can see he has to go wide, though.
Henry, this was only his 2nd race coming back after that broken back injury.
You can hear LaRocco right there winding that throttle. He knew he was going to be coming up a little bit short on that triple. He used to call that the panic rev. In fact, that was one of my favorite things to do in practice. We'd be standing around with some of our teammates, and you'd hear somebody do that in the air, and he'd make this scary face like it was happening right behind him, and boy, would they duck.
Henry in '96, coming back from that back injury. '97, he took a 10th place after starting 2nd. He was riding then with a hurt hand and put a little pressure on Emig at the very start, but then faded back.
So McGrath's lap times now out front are starting to slow down just a little bit, down to 124.
Here comes Albertine, makes the hippity hop pass on Doug Henry.
Great move.
Boy, a strong race from Albertine so far.
Yep, he's looking good. Really impressed me last week. Looked super in his heat, and I know he's a good mud rider, but whatever he did in the last couple of weeks, he needs to keep doing it because he's back in form.
Albertine moving into 4th place, matching so far his finish in the last race, Marty Reed.
Yeah, and I talked to him after the heat race, and he was really frustrated. He says, boy, this bike with the new motor's really running well. I know we can run up front. I know we can make a podium. All I got to do is get a good start and stay up on her. And he felt fine. He had a little bit of bump or bruise, but he did not get the great start. But here he is making one of those late race charges like we've seen him do the last few times out.
And he's only 5 seconds now away from Ezra Lusk. Lusk in 3rd behind Emig and McGrath.
Yeah, that 5 seconds, though, is going to be pretty tough to make up. There you see that dancing around through that rut of the whoops. Boy, this track, when I was a kid, Art, you know, you talked about me growing up here. I spent a few months here every year during the Florida series. I'd always be here to watch the race, and it's my favorite thing to go walk the track after the race. Look how rough it got. And right now, these guys are hitting so many holes out there. They'll be happy to see that white flag.
Albie, a 2nd place here last year, one of 5 podiums. as we look at Jeremy McGrath.
Just steady, but you know what? That steady isn't quite good enough right now, because in that last lap, he lost quite a bit of time to Emig.
McGrath never really has looked at Daytona as one of the big important races, but it became important to him when it was one of the few races that he hadn't won, and Daytona being, of course, the first Supercross race ever, and it's great history.
Well, I think he just got tired of, he'd won just about everything there ever was to win. It was like, what else do I have to prove? And of course, we added to that too, a little bit.
Yes, we did.
I think he got tired of listening to it, so he said, okay, I'll win that thing too.
So after his best of a second in 93, he got a 7th in 95, and then got the win in 96. That took us off his back.
Brian Hughes and John Dowd battling. Dowd getting the upper hand there, just through that whoop section. A little better line out of the corner. Got a better drive through there.
Coming through the lappers, John Dowd and Ryan Hughes.
That part that Stan was talking about, when you get tired, this is where that starts to happen. Your back hurts.
Whoa, look at that cover. That's going to wrap around big time.
Yeah, so you can say goodbye to his rear brake for a couple laps now. And it's a Honda banner. Get that thing out of my Yamaha.
Whoa,
Ryan Hughes
squirrely.
all over the place. That strength saves that.
Hay bale cover was a big item in the 125s in a battle between Ferry and Pichon. Pichon was leading, had to come out of the race, and Ferry, that was his last win. Here's Wyndham and Pichon. Pichon number 16. Trying to move up a notch on Kevin Wyndham. That's the battle for 7th.
It's a tough time of day, too, to have the race, because in certain areas, I think maybe even coming through here, there's a glare. Really hard to see the line, and those moguls are hard enough, and then you're trying to see because of the sun setting over the big grandstand.
For the first time today, we actually have direct sunlight, as we've had the cloud overhang, and so now the shadows are really going to be apparent down there. 3 laps to go in our 20-lap main event for the 250s.
And back out front, I'm just noticing, as these guys continue to battle, Ryan Hughes is not done with Dowd yet.
What a tough year he's had, as we take a look at Wyndham, Pichon, and LaRocco.
Emig is not that far behind McGrath. He's actually picked it up a little bit, and I know that as he comes through the mechanics area, this mechanic is putting signs on his board like, look, you're close enough, go get it. It's Daytona. Win it again. Anything he can do to motivate his rider, because it's not over.
Emig is pulled to within about 3 seconds of Jeremy McGrath. Our leader is McGrath.
Hughes and Dowd still going out on the front straightaway. There you get a chance. Still shadows. Hughes just, I don't know how he had room to jump that triple. Just about grazing elbows with that lapped rider there.
Lusk is riding a lonely 3rd right now behind Emig. And Albertine is pulling away from Henry in 4th as we take a look at Hughes.
Hughes getting a nice timing out over the, didn't sound it with the throttle, but got a nice timing up and over that. It's kind of a whoop section all the way up the face of that jump before they get to the moguls. Jump the whole top.
Pichon making the pass on Wyndham. McGrath, Emig, and Lusk are top 3, with Albertine in 4th.
Wyndham winning his heat race, looking strong, but start makes such a difference.
And now Team Yamaha's John Dowd starting to make a move on Wyndham. Wyndham slowing way off the pace, David.
Yeah, it's hard to say exactly what happened. I fail to believe he's that tired. It's got to be something other than that, but he's visibly, you can see that he's not pushing that hard anymore.
And Dowd makes an easy pass. So the white flag is out. McGrath and Emig have crossed the finish line jump. We're in our final lap of action. Daytona 1998 Supercross.
See these guys not tripling that. That's the difference. The guys out front still tripling it. And Jeremy already lapped Larry Ward, last week's winner. Larry Ward lapped up to Jeff Emig and Jeremy McGrath last week. In fact, McGrath and Emig were the last guys on the racetrack last week because of that.
The crowd is standing up, and they're not standing up really for Hughes. They're standing up for this guy right here, number 2, Jeremy McGrath. McGrath has been a living legend.
Yeah, he's just going to add one more page to that. This will be 50. That's a lot of wins.
A lot of wins, especially when he's won over 58% of his races.
Ryan Hughes would like to get one, you know, and think of what Ryan Hughes has done. He's put in some great rides, but 50 wins. That's just ridiculous.
And a commanding points lead, looking for his 5th Supercross title. Jeff Emig looking for a 2nd place finish, and it's pretty clear cut right now. Ezra Lusk as the checkers fly here in Daytona for Jeremy McGrath, his 2nd victory in Daytona.
And Emig goes across that finish line as though he won. He's stoked. What a turnaround for him. Great ride for Jeff. I think he's going to go do a victory lap.
So his 5th win of the season, his 50th career Supercross wins. He is now only 7 wins away from doubling Rick Johnson's Supercross record as the 2nd winningest record behind McGrath. Can you believe that? 7 wins away from doubling Rick Johnson's record.
That's how good he is.
Jeremy McGrath taking the lap on the high bank, and we'll be right back as Marty Reed anxiously awaiting McGrath's appearance at the podium. Welcome back to Daytona. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Marty Reed as we take a look at the top 5. Jeremy McGrath with his 50th Supercross victory. Jeff Emig in 2nd. Ezra Lusk, Greg Albertine, a good steady race in 4th. And Doug Henry capping the top 5. And as we take a look at 6 through 10, let's go down now to Marty Reed. And Marty, this is Yamaha's first win at Daytona since 1980 when Staten took the victory.
Well, it may have been 1980 for Yamaha, but this is number 50 for Jeremy McGrath. Randy Lawrence alongside. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. You know, Gary Bailey built a really good track here, and my chaparral Yamaha was working great. You know, Randy and I, as a team, were working excellent. Chaparral Yamaha was just flowing, and I couldn't have done it without John R. You know, we watched some video after the heat race, and Randy, John R, and I talked and got the suspension working a little better. It was a little bit soft, so we stiffened her up, and it was perfect.
So went back more to a Supercross setup than the motocross.
Yeah, they kind of flattened the bumps on the track, and it made it a little faster, so you need a little bit stiffer. So that's what we did, and I mean, I can't say enough. You know, my Yamaha was working excellent out there.
What's it feel like to have 50 of these?
Switch them up. Well, I'm still in the midst of winning, so I can't quite tell what the 50th one's like. You know, I'm really happy to win Daytona for a 2nd time on 2 different bikes, and I'm really proud I was on a Yamaha. Thanks.
Jeremy McGrath now with the points stand.